Hello and welcome to the Impact Circle, where we discuss how individuals, communities, local and international partners are driving sustainable and meaningful change in the various communities that they work in all across the country and sometimes even across Africa. We're excited to have you join us and we look forward to the conversation that we're having. Traditionally, international partners and donors have relied on funds and financial support to local partners in order to drive change in the various places that they work. But we are sitting today with WUSC and looking at how the IGNITE program uses a very unique approach to make sure that organizations are strengthened to be able to better achieve the kinds of results that we are looking for. Stay tuned for this conversation. Hi.
Hi Esther, how are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the Impact Circle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
We are really honored to have you.
I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, great. I know you, but can you tell the people who you are and what you do?
Oh, okay. So my name is Clara Nyarkoa Anim. I am an international development professional with over 15 years of experience.
Wow.
And I work in diverse fields such as sustainable rural development and livelihoods, gender equality and social inclusion, cooperative development, financial inclusion. I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship as well. And I support organizations in terms of organizational development, business development, among others. And now one of my passions is also around TVET and volunteer management. We need human resources to support the development of any initiatives that international organizations like embark on. So I am currently the program manager for IGNITE. IGNITE is a volunteer program implemented by WUSC, and it seeks to build capacity of local partner organizations. And here what I do is I lead those initiatives in building local partnerships as well as fostering impactful and relevant program development for these partner organizations. And as organizations, since you know WUSC, we are very passionate about gender equality and social inclusion initiatives. So I do those kind of inclusive development and guide partners around that. One of the approaches that I love to use is the system thinking approach, and I work with these local partners that we have to empower them so that they can be able to serve the communities they so deserve to reach.
I love that so much because it resonates with PDA's focus as well on inclusiveness, on empowerment in order to drive sustainable impact. And that drives us right back to what this whole conversation is about, you know, strengthening local organizations. Yes. You know, most organizations, donors like to give money, and it's needed. We love it. Keep sending the money. Money is very good, and it's very helpful. Yeah. But I think that a more sustainable way of creating change and keeping the change is making sure that there are local organizations that can manage and keep the impact that has begun. So how does WUSC do that on the IGNITE program? What are some of the approaches? Tell us some of your secrets.
So like I said, IGNITE is a volunteer cooperation program. Okay. So we don't give a lot of money.
You give small pets.
Small kakra. But what we do is that we leverage on expertise of humans, human resources. We leverage on expertise of volunteers to be able to support building capacities of local organization. As organization WUSC, we know that we are an NGO. A time will come we may even pull out of Ghana, right? So what do we want to achieve when we are not there? What are the legacies that we are leaving behind? We want to have local institutions that have the capacity to continue to provide support for young people, especially young females or young women. And what can we do to support? So what we do is that we look at the capacity strengths of each of the local organizations that we work with. And then we say, hey, okay, let's do an assessment. So we assess, we know their need, we know the gaps, and then we use the IGNITE program to bring them with expert volunteers. And these expert volunteers come from diverse networks, diverse regions, diverse countries, and with diverse expertise as well. And what they do is that if, for instance, we identify that PDA needs someone to support them with growth strategy, which we are currently doing, we would have done that capacity assessment to know that that's the need of PDA. And then we will recruit an expert to come in to support PDA with that kind of initiative they want to embark on. And our volunteers work with the local organizations, and it's a capacity building program. So we really want to work with the local staff, the local partners, so that we can strengthen those individuals, so that when we are not there, when the volunteers are not there, the growth strategy that say we are working with PDA, or the business development strategy that we are working with any other organization, will not be left lying down. The organization will have individuals that can continue to implement those strategies, those initiatives that are sustainable, with or without WUSC.
I think it's such an excellent strategy.
Oh, yes.
And I'm sure that you've seen and heard a lot of success stories. PDA, I know our success based on the IGNITE program, but can you share some of the outstanding results that you are seeing?
Well, yes. We have seen organizations such as PDA and any other local organizations that we work here in Ghana. We have seen the change. One of the things I want to highlight is we have seen organization understanding gender equality, the need to be intentional, organization applying intersectionality approaches to be able to go down and ask for the root causes of challenges affecting young people and see how much they can apply those initiatives and strategies to really come up with products and services that will inure to the benefit of young people. So we have seen those changes when it comes to gender equality and social inclusion. We have also seen organizations who hitherto did not have strategic plans, and we have helped them develop these strategic plans with the support of our volunteers, and they have developed 5-year development plan that they are using to run their businesses. Some organizations have asked of, business development advisors. You know, like you said, money is very, very needed, right? And when you need money, you have to come up with strategies, initiatives. How am I going to get the money? Even from an NGO, where are the donors? Where are they? So how do I leverage? What other services or products can I bring on board so that I'll be able to make some income from there? And then we have supported partners with volunteers in terms of business development. And business development goes hand in hand with partnership development. You have to know who are the people in the space that can buy your service or provide support to you so that you will be able to support the young people. And so we have also supported organizations with partnership development experts who can really do a scan of the space and see who are there, what are they doing, and how can the organization leverage on their expertise to partner and scale up innovative and inclusive initiatives across the countries or the regions that they operate.
So here there's a ripple effect happening, right? You're strengthening the local partner or the organization, and then they are not only able to get money for themselves, but then that impact translates to the beneficiaries, to the project participants as well.
Exactly.
And of course, it's affecting programming, the ways that people, design their projects. Like you mentioned, even the awareness, the consciousness about gender equality, social inclusion, these issues of even climate change. These are things that sometimes don't come naturally to local organizations, especially in Ghana. But by partnering with WUSC on the IGNITE program, these things suddenly come to the fore, and it starts to affect lives right down in the communities.
What is the importance of environmental sustainability and climate action? So with IGNITE, you will be able to have experts come in to look at not only talking about pollution, land degradation, and all those environment concepts that they use, but they will be looking at what are the benefits. This is the conditions that we have. What are the opportunities that we have within that space, and see how we can drive initiative. So we have supported organization with some projects around the green space, whereby we were looking at green businesses for growth. And this organization was able to leverage on the expertise of the volunteers and the knowledge they acquired from engaging with WUSC and, for that matter, the IGNITE program, to be able to come up with businesses that inure to the benefit. Let me tell you, this organization had not even thought of working with persons with disability. But now they are working with persons with disability. They came up with mushroom production. They came up with snail production. They look at the bricklaying, and they even went to the refugee camps.
Wow.
Do you know we have refugees in Ghana?
I do.
Yeah, so they went to refugee camp and we're looking at what are the challenges that exist. These are people that are excluded. And so we have to find a way of including them in our program. And you have to apply that gender lens to be able to know, how can I make my program or project sensitive enough to be able to reach the most vulnerable people. And for WUSC as an organization, we've been working in the TVET space. So most of our programs that we hear is TVET.
Okay.
We love the space. We actually do love how we can support young people, especially young female, to take the benefit of the male-dominated sectors to be able to make the income. Because somebody is a tiler and that person has the money, right? And so over the period in Ghana, we have had a lot of organizations champion that cause. So for instance, PDA, we work with PDA, right? PDA and their partner Age, who is also our partner, and we collaborated with them. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We didn't want to start afresh. We are saying we have had a lot of young people being trained in male-dominated trades, but the challenge has still not been solved. So when we assess, we realize that these people have not formalized their businesses, and so through the Ignite program, PDA collaborated with AAG to be able to look at how they can help these young women formalize their businesses so that they can also have a say. They can apply for contracts, they can do anything, they can apply for jobs, and as well as apply for the contracts and become entrepreneurs themselves. Just like Kwegri Agri said, when you educate a woman, you educate the whole nation.
It's very true.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing some of these stories. I know that you're trying to code the names of the organizations that have been benefiting so much from this program. But I definitely know, and I'm sure that everyone who is watching, if they check the websites, they go on social media of WUSC, WUSC Ghana in particular, they'll be able to see some of the incredible work that you're doing. Before I release you, I do want to ask you, what do you think are some of the implications of this project for other actors in the development space? So one of the things that we have realized is the transformative power of inclusive and local-driven initiatives and approaches. As nobody from Canada can come and help change Ghana, right? The solutions exist with us. And so for WUSC, what we do is that we don't dump anything on you. Even if we want to we are using gender equality and we are promoting it extensively across all the programs that we do, we let the partner understand the need of it. If we are bringing you a volunteer, we ask you, assess yourself and let us know your gap. It is when you acknowledge that you have that gap, that is when we can provide you with a support. So that when the person comes, the person is able to meet your needs, right? And then you can scale up on those initiatives that have it. So we believe in that, the transformative power of locally driven initiatives that are very inclusive. We are also very much in co-creation. So we work with local organizations. So we co-create, we want to understand. We don't say that we are the expert. Hell no, I'm not the expert in anything, right? But so we want to co-create with individual organizations and communities so that these initiatives, projects, products, and services become acceptable. Because when people don't have the buy-in of any initiative, that is when the projects wrap up and you go back to those communities and it's like nothing has ever happened there. So we co-create with them. Another important thing is the gender-sensitive approaches and culturally responsive approaches. So like I said, we don't dump. So we want to understand the culture dynamics of Ghana or any other country that we work with and be able to look at what are the solutions that exist within the same culture and then try to knock some doors, shake some heads, and try to make some changes within that culture without necessarily changing everything so that it becomes very acceptable for the community or the partners that we work with. Because if you borrow a culture and you just dump it, nobody is going to utilize it after you leave. And I think this is a key takeaway for other donor organizations. The need to be very intentional about engaging the local partners and making sure, first of all, that they themselves assess themselves and are able to tell you what they need, rather than you designing for yourself, you know, in a whole program or a whole project and just dumping the money there and saying, do this, do this. And I also like what you've mentioned about even within the various communities and the rest, making sure that you are sensitive about the culture of the place. And I know you don't just work in Ghana, not even just in Africa, you work in developing countries all over the world, all these various regions. So making sure that all the things that you are providing and all the solutions that you are bringing on board are co-created and they are relevant culturally to the people that you are working with.
Very much so, very much so. So we don't want to leave anyone behind. And if we don't want to leave anyone behind, it is imperative on us to understand what the needs are, right? To be able to go down as the root causes. So if you take the TVET space, people say there are no jobs for women. Women are only dressmakers and hairdressers, which is a very fanciful job in recent times, right? But we also know that in the trades that needed to have been done by men, there are a lot of opportunities that exist for young female. So it's for us to understand. We have to analyze the root causes of the barriers that are preventing women from entering that space. And we can only do that when we are able to co-create, provide support, understand the situation, and then come up with innovative solutions. And that's when we can even bring our volunteers to come in and to be able to support this partner organization across the work, the space, and the communities and the countries that we work in. So it's very, very important that you have initiatives that are being led by the local organization. Because when you leave, like you said in your intro, you did mention that NGOs, international NGOs, and even local NGOs are depending so much on donor funds. And so if you don't take this approach, when you leave, nothing happens. And I always tell all the partners that we work with that, as a partner, position yourself, have your selling point, right? So that when a donor comes, you're able to say that this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Of course, donors will come with all their own rules and regulations, how we want things done. But if you're able to know who you are and how you want to achieve impact, you can also communicate your approach to a donor for a donor to accept and work with you. At the end of the day, we want to have one global village where everything is okay for everybody, especially young people, because they are the future.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Everyone matters. Yes. And so I know that some of the people, some of the organizations watching this would be very interested. How do they join, or how can they be a part of this project? Must they wait until Ignite calls on them, or are there ways in which they can apply? How do they get involved?
So I can tell you that now I'm done with scouting for partners.
Oh,
right? No! But I also believe in stakeholder.
All right.
So as we work, we don't just pick partners. For Ignite, we are looking at supporting, improving the conditions of the most vulnerable people. We want to contribute to that kind of improvement. So we looked at partners that are working in that space, who are working to improve young people's opportunities, either in employment or entrepreneurship route. And so for now, people can still engage with us on our social media, pay a working visit to us to learn more about us. Sure. And if there are any other opportunities for us to bring any partner on board, why not? And I tell you, it is through those engagements that we get to know who is doing what in the space. We are not experts. And we also leverage on our partners' knowledge within the space. Yeah. So I'll ask PDA, who are the people in the space that you think when we bring them around the table, we will be able to change Ghana with our initiative? And our partners do mention those partners to us. So PDA introduced us to one partner who is working in the space that providing support for young entrepreneurs, right? So I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. So through our partners, we leverage on their expertise within the spaces that they work and get to work with these partners. Also, I think that partners and stakeholders can support the work that WUSC and IGNI does by advocating for inclusiveness and locally driven development practices. Not only with WUSC, but any other international organization or donor that they work with, so that we can be able to make changes that are acceptable to our communities, as well as the technical expertise and also providing funding. So if Ignite can provide funds, we do provide a little, but we believe that our funds, the one that PDA and AAG was able to get, is just a start. It's a start to be able to leverage on it to scale up innovative initiatives. So it doesn't end with just WUSC or Ignite. Partners should be able to take that report, that seed, that proof of concept to say, hey, let me go to MasterCard and say, this is what we have done. We have the evidence and we will be able to continue. And also encouraging skill professionalism to share their knowledge and strength. So learning is very important. There's so many skills that we have within our organization that sometimes they go untapped. It is important that for partners to really look at the skills of their human resource. So I know ASIDA is good with communication, but I equally know ASIDA have a lot of other skills that maybe PDA is not tapping from. So it's good for the organization to have what I call a skill bank, to be able to get all those information and pull it there so that we can check in the bank anytime we need some expertise and leverage on it. And also collaboration. Collaboration is very important in the space that we work with. And also investing in capacity strengthening of the people that our partners work with. So that's why for Ignite, we look at the counterpart. We need partners to have somebody dedicated working with our volunteers. Our volunteers are coming from Global North and Global South, right? They are just not Ghanaians at the moment. But we have had national volunteers come, and they
which was a very successful program, the national volunteers.
Exactly. However, the current volunteers that we do have now are from the Global North, particularly from Canada and the Global South. So any other developing country, they will go. So it is important that whilst they are here, we take full benefit of their expertise. Of course, they also learn. So when you make yourself available, our volunteers will be able to learn from it. And that can create meaningful change in the communities that we want to serve or we are currently serving.
Much sense. Thank you very much, Clara. It has been a great time talking with you, learning more about WUSC and Ignite and all the ways in which we can strengthen the kind of work that we are doing, not only among the communities where we are working with project participants, but even as individual organizations, strengthening ourselves so that we can better serve future generations as well. Thank you. This has been the Impact Circle. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure that you check out WUSC and look out for Ignite's program specifically. Reach out to them on social media, check out their website, and also follow up with PDA, Participatory Development Associates, on all the various digital platforms near you. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.